Hi, everybody. Welcome to today. We are talking to Julie Cunningham. She is I'm going to get your title wrong, founder, and tell me what you prefer to be referred.
I guess, the founder, the director.
Yes, of Active Mom. So she helps moms with all things active after baby. And we're going to be talking about pelvic floor today, specifically because I hear from so many moms, this is just an area that's not talked about frequently enough. They don't know that it's not normal to be having pelvic floor issues, that you can repair it. I was just telling Julie that that's something I didn't even realize until very recently. This is something, that you can correct and that you can get back to, the way it used to function. So I'm really excited that you're here to share today.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Thank you.
You're welcome. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in this line of work and why you're so passionate about it.
Yeah, sure. So I am a mum of two, and I started my business, Active Mum, 12 years ago now. I was pregnant with my first child, and I was teaching in all of the big gyms. And at the time, I'd been a trainer for 10 years. So I was quite a senior trainer. I had a university degree, and I was teaching programs at the gym, thinking that I was doing everything that was okay for my body. But in the fitness industry, pregnancy is covered in the smallest of snippets. So I was up there teaching, and I sustained some pretty big, significant injuries to my own body, teaching in a way that I thought was safe while I was pregnant. So I sustained some abdominal separation, pelvic floor issues, pelvic pain. And so I went off to a women's health physio, and she said, look, whilst you're doing exercises that are safe for baby, they're not actually the best thing for your body. And, a lot of what you're doing is actually causing lifelong damage. And I was there thinking, okay, I'm a senior trainer in the industry. I've been doing this a long time. I guess I was angry. How did I not know? How was I not educated that these exercises weren't appropriate and that the damage that they were doing? So I started to look for a program I could go to that would prepare my body, I guess, for pregnancy, for birth, and for life as a mum. And there wasn't anything. So that's where my program was born. It started off as a program for pregnancy, where we help the pregnant women to really prepare their body physically, mentally. And then it moved into the post-birth program as well, where we helped women recover post-birth and get all the bits working again, get their body back to full function, so that they could be confident in their body and really live their best life. So that's how it came about. It's been going for 12 years, and we've helped over 10,000 mums in that time. So it's pretty big.
That's amazing. And that story is it's not uncommon in the pregnancy and postpartum world to hear oh, they don't teach about this topic in whatever field it is, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm glad you shared that, because there's a lot of women who are just trying to do their best staying active and healthy while they're pregnant and not realizing the damage that they're causing.
That's exactly right. And, I can talk to somebody that's post-birth, and I'll do a bit of a questionnaire of, what exercise, what did you do during your pregnancy? Were you active? Were you not active? What sort of exercises did you do? And they tell me that, and before they even then go on to tell me the issues they're suffering in their body, I can pick the issues that will be going on in their body just based on what they did when they were pregnant. And they didn't know. That's the worst thing, is they didn't know that some of those things that they're doing whilst they're pregnant or post-birth just aren't appropriate for their body. So that's where I come in. My mission is to educate the world so that mums can enjoy their body and be proud of their body and have it functioning well.
Yeah, I love that so much. So tell me a little bit more about pelvic floor. What role does it play in our body, and why do we talk about this so much when it comes to pregnancy and postpartum?
Yeah, sure. So pelvic floor is super important muscle. It sits basically at the base of our pelvis there, and it's responsible for a few things. It's responsible for holding everything in, our organs as well as urine, feces. It's responsible for that. It's responsible for also helping with spinal stability, so it can be related to back pain. And then it's also responsible for our sexual satisfaction as well. So it's a pretty important muscle. And while we're pregnant, the relaxin hormone affects it greatly, and similarly post-birth. So pretty much I say we're postpartum for the rest of our lives. We need to be thinking about our pelvic floor forever. Our body has done this incredible thing growing a human or two or three, and the way that we train, the way that we move, the way that we live our lives, the way we pick things up, we need to be really mindful of all of that so that we can protect the pelvic floor, and then it can serve us well forever. Yeah, otherwise it leads to things like, incontinence that we were talking about earlier. 1 in 3 women that have had a baby suffer incontinence. It can lead to things like prolapse. 50% of women that have had a baby suffer from prolapse. Many are living with it and don't even know. So they're quite huge statistics. And then the other thing too is pelvic floor is really linked to our deep abdominal muscles. So sometimes women will be struggling to get their mummy tummy back. And quite often what they're doing is they're bearing down through the core and pelvic floor, which is then exacerbating that problem. So it's a super important muscle, one that I'm so passionate about.
I had no idea. And you mentioned prolapse. So for people who aren't familiar with what that means, like to have prolapse, talk to us a little bit about what that is.
So prolapse is basically, I guess you sort of think of things coming down. It can be a bladder prolapse, it can be a uterine prolapse, where things are coming down and they can pretty much fall out of the vagina in extreme cases, it's just that you could feel a heaviness and dragging. You might have been out walking with the pram or carrying the groceries, and then you just feel a real heaviness and dragging downstairs, and that is symptoms of that prolapse.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know that we talked about how to restore your pelvic floor after birth. Are there things you can do before you deliver to make sure it's nice and strong or more protected from injury, I guess?
Yeah, definitely. So in our programs, in our pregnancy program, we're working the pelvic floor all the time, but in a really functional way. So we'll use our fit ball a lot. We'll be sitting on our fit ball a lot. We'll be doing a lot of our exercises on the ball, which will then take the gravity out of the movements, but it'll also help to strengthen the pelvic floor without the women having to think too much about it. So it's definitely something we should be thinking about during pregnancy. And people think, somebody might be having a planned C-section for medical reasons or for whatever reason. And then quite often there's this misconception that you don't have to worry about the pelvic floor then because you're having a C-section, but you do. Yeah, it's really important no matter how you're delivering baby. So yeah, we can definitely work on it during pregnancy, and we should be. And then after birth, we should definitely be thinking about it, protecting it in all movements that we make.
Okay, awesome. So what are your recommendations for post-delivery? Say mom didn't realize that this was such an important muscle in pregnancy. How do we start the process of restoring and strengthening our pelvic floor after we have a baby?
Yeah, great question. So if you've got severe symptoms where you're leaking on laughing, coughing, sneezing, then it's a great idea to have an appointment with a women's health physiotherapist. These are totally different than a normal physiotherapist, so you want a women's health physiotherapist. And we can start the work of starting to rebuild the pelvic floor. So you're focusing in on the core and the pelvic floor all the time. You've got your exercises where people are thinking statically to draw up the pelvic floor and then release, which is a great way, but quite often women may be doing that incorrectly. So it's really good, I guess, to be getting the pelvic floor working and functioning while we're doing everyday activities. So I always say to my ladies, and it's quite graphic, in terms of pelvic floor, if you imagined that you were drinking a milkshake and you had a straw down there and you had to drink the milkshake through the straw, it's that internal action of lifting in and up. Yeah, okay. Drawing everything up. So in terms of doing some exercises, you could start, quite early post-birth, just gentle lifting up, drawing holds, and then releases. And then we're moving on to more things like as you're moving through your day. The other way I say it is imagine a pair of pants, and your zipper is your pelvic floor, and your button is your deep abdominal line. And you want to think about keeping the zipper and the button gently done up throughout the day in all movements that you make. Because quite often we'll be, chopping the veggies, or we go to lift up baby, and everything spills forward into our zipper and button. And then that means the core and pelvic floor are off, and they're no longer protected. And they're also not then supporting us when we go to make that movement. So if we can think, okay, I'm going to go and pick up my baby. Is my zipper and button done up? Then I do that lift. Yep. Then I'm protected and my core can work, and I'll eventually be able to get that flat tummy back as well.
Oh, that's amazing. I love the visual of that. Like, that's so helpful to think about for those of us who wear jeans, but not so much anymore.
Yeah. Yes. So it's imaginary pair of pants.
Our imaginary pair of pants when we're not wearing leggings.
Exactly.
Oh, I love that. That's so good. Are there any other like real easy things we can do, or those are kind of the basics? And then in the US we call them, pelvic floor therapist or pelvic floor physical therapist. Anything else beyond those things that are kind of simple that we can do at home?
Yeah, definitely. Always thinking about the zipper button in everything that you do. So then you would start things. It's a bit hard for me to demonstrate here where I am, but laying down on the ground. So you're laying down on the ground. You're starting off just with some simple breath work of taking a nice big inhale, feeling the ribcage expand. Exhale, feeling the zipper and button do up, so getting that connection happening. And then you'll start with the legs bent, dragging one leg out along the floor and bringing it back in, and the other leg out and in. And while you're doing that, the zipper and button are staying done up. Yeah, if you got to move those legs and the tummy bulges out, then they've switched off. Yep. So we want to stop, reset, zip up, button up, and then attempt that again, slow and controlled. And then that way, that's going to get that deepest layer of things working without all of the other muscles trying to take over. So that's a good way to start. And then we build up from there. We add in different layers once we've got that stability through the core, through the pelvic floor, then we can add in different layers and things as well.
Okay, that's great. I know we talked about, like, very briefly at the beginning about how this should be something that women are thinking about forever. And I know like the topic that we have is how to, repair it for life. So can you talk a little bit about what you mean by that?
Yeah, sure. So I guess if we think about something like weight training, a lot of women maybe before birth, they did weight training with quite heavy weights, or to me, a heavy weight is, 6 kilos, and they go back to lifting those weights. And when they do that, they generally can't maintain their core under that weight. So what will happen if I'm going to lose my head. Okay, I can't do that. Okay, so what will happen is you go to lift that weight. Say we went down into a squat, and it's similarly when we lift our baby, right? They get to 10, 12 kilos. Yep. So we go down into a squat, and then we go to lift that weight. That tummy will tend to bulge out because we haven't maintained the core and the pelvic floor. And then we've got downward pressure, which then can lead to further dysfunction and prolapse. Okay, so workouts where there is a lot of weight involved can actually be damaging then to the pelvic floor. So we want to just, I guess, really work within what our body can do. So always, and that's why the little example of are my pants done up, in every movement that you make, can I keep my pants done up? And then that way you'll know that your core and pelvic floor are protected forever. Yep. Similarly, something like a run. Women are always thinking, or often ask me, when can I get back to running post-birth? And we say wait until that 12-week mark before you start to attempt that running. And you want to start off your run and really listening to your body. So if you start running and you are feeling any kind of leaking, any kind of heaviness and dragging, then you're going to take it back to a walk. And we build that up, run, walk, until we can do that run without any kind of leaking or symptoms afterwards. And then once we get strong enough to run and we've got all of our other muscle systems strong enough to help us run, we might be running through life. And then, it's 5-10 years down the track, kids are a bit older, we're running, and you might at different times in the month feel quite leaky or heaviness and dragging coming into your period.
Yes. And
we need to listen to our body then too, because if we run through that, if we keep running through that, then we're damaging. So, as women, as that cycle ebbs and flows throughout the month, we really need to tune into our body so that we can protect ourselves and our bits can last a long time.
I love that. Well, and it's a very common thing these days that we as humans expect to go, like just keep pushing, keep moving forward. And what I've been learning a lot just in my own healing journey is how important it is to step back and really listen to what our bodies are telling us. Like, we may want to keep pushing, but you're right, in many number of areas, right? By keeping on pushing, it's actually going to do us some damage in the long run, whether it's with our pelvic floor or, emotionally, or if we're pushing so hard we're not getting the sleep we need, that can have all kinds of ripple effects. So I love that you said that, because that's something that I've been really, really working on myself.
Yes. That's excellent. I'm so much about teaching women to honor their body and really listen to it. And then that's the way we can live our best life, if we tune into actually what's going on in our body and listen for those warning signals that it throws out to us.
Yes. So tell me, when working with moms on pelvic floor restoration, how long does it usually take? I know that's kind of a hard question because it depends on the person, but if you're looking for improvement, like how long do moms usually take in doing some of these exercises to start to see things improving?
Yeah, and it depends on exactly what's going on in that woman's body. It could be that she's had a severe prolapse, or it could be that she's having sort of some milder leaking, and so the length of time and the training required is going to vary. But, over a 12-week period or 8 to 12-week period, we can see really huge gains and improvements in how she's feeling. So, for us, it's not just about honing in on the pelvic floor. It's about training all of the other muscles that are then going to help support her body so that it can back some pressure off the pelvic floor. Just after we've had a baby, quite often our glutes are switched off because of the posture that we've been in. Our core's not working. And so then when we go to do just everyday activities where we tend to compensate and grip on through the pelvic floor or bear down because those other muscles aren't working effectively to support us. So our system really works on the whole body and getting everything functioning effectively so that it can back the pressure off the pelvic floor whilst we also strengthen it. I would say sort of that, 12 weeks of training, purposeful training, we can definitely get the pelvic floor feeling a whole lot better, the body feeling a whole lot better and functioning a whole lot more optimally.
Oh, I love it. So I want to share a little bit, because you're going to stick with me in the new membership that we're launching. because I think this is such an important part for moms, to be taking care of their bodies too. A lot of times that falls by the wayside because we don't have time or we feel like other things are a priority. And so you're going to be sticking around because I think this is so important for moms to maintain, caring for their bodies so that they can feel their best selves. So this membership, for those of you who have not heard my previous messages about it, is really about helping you live your best, happiest life as a mom and having one place that you can go to for expert help, that that you have a community of a really supportive women standing behind you. So it's a place where you can ask any questions that you have. There's no shame. There's no mom judgment going on, right? It's a very uplifting and supportive community for moms. And you'll also have me there to help you with sleep, along with a wide variety of experts who are going to be offering ongoing trainings to help you as you are really settling into life as a mom. If you already are a mom, it's there to help you kind of regain who you are. I hear so many moms say, they feel like they got lost in motherhood a little bit, and they lost who they were. So it's there to help you get back to who you are as a person and not just as a caretaker and a housekeeper and, all those other roles that we play. So this membership is at an amazing founders rate for this week during the summit. So through Sunday, the 29th, I always forget the date. Yeah, through Sunday, the 29th, you can get in on this membership for $37 a month, or you can pay in full for $222. After Sunday, prices go up. So this is a half price founding members rate that will never be available again. And you will get in at the ground floor with an amazing community of moms who are just like you, who want to live their best lives, who want to be healthy, who want to feel great, who want to have really strong marriages. So if that's something you're interested in, please reach out to me. There will be links in the group so that you can join. But if you want to talk to me in more detail about exactly what's all included, I'm happy to do that in the private messages. So, Julie, I really appreciate you being here today, and tell everybody how they can stay connected with you outside of, the membership and this group.
Yeah, sure. So they could reach out to me or follow me on Facebook. Julie Cunningham is my personal page, but also our business page is Active Mum. Now we are MUM here in Australia, so Active MUM Mum. The other way you can check us out and find out more about what we do is on our website, which is activemum.com.au. So activemum.com.au, so they can find out there. We've got lots of great videos and stories on our website and on Facebook, and I'm posting tips and helpful videos pretty much daily. So yeah, you can jump on there, check out more about what we do there, and get some great tips just to help you be your healthiest, happiest, most energized self.
Yes, I love it. Thank you so much. This is so helpful. And I know moms are going to really learn a lot while they watch this. So I really appreciate your time today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.